listening to Cain, Randy, and Brooke on Scratch the Vinyl.
Scratch the Vinyl.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. You made it back for another week, and we're so glad that you did. It is I mean, what can I say, everybody? It's fantastic times. I mean, I can't say I'm excited about it getting cold, but I'm still excited about the time. I mean, we're rolling into the holidays and it is a blast. So I got to tell you, man, I was searching the old internet, dialing it up, doing what I do, looking for estate sales and things, and I came across something amazing. I got a nice little cassette haul, and it was right in Randy's neck of the woods. So I I went out there, and I that's what I love about meeting people is you never know who you're going to meet. You don't know if you're going to meet Jeffrey Dahmer, and he's going to cut my head off. You never know who you're going to meet when you have the old internet meetup. But I met a nice kid with a boatload of piercings. I mean, his whole head was basically covered in it, and I thought, this is my people. This guy's all right. But I got to tell you, what I got was amazing. I got the first Van Halen album. I got Georgia Satellites. There was an Elvis cassette, Harvest Moon by Neil Young, which I mean, Neil Young, anything Neil Young wins by default to me. And it was just a blast. It was amazing. And it just made me think, like, I got so much to be thankful for. I get so lucky when it comes to some of this stuff. And I know you're like, well, why are you thankful about a cassette haul? Because it means something to me, right? When I get this stuff, maybe I'm down and out, maybe I'm depressed, whatever, and then I pop these cassettes or these vinyls on, and instantly I get this time machine that takes me to another planet, where I can smile and be happy. So I'm thankful for that. And another person I'm thankful for is, oh man, everybody, he's on the show with me. He's my partner in crime. He's the chill man himself, the Godzilla of entertainment. Randy, how the heck are you doing?
Well, I've been a little down and out, but I am feeling pretty darn good today. And I love that you got a cassette haul. I have like 1,000 cassettes. I just don't know if they'd still work. And I don't know I have anything to play them on anymore.
Well, I guess I recently found out that I don't either, because I went to go play. Usually my record player also has a cassette function to it. And I popped those babies in. I was excited to hear that first Van Halen album right away. And boom, it isn't working. So then I had to go to like one of my weird boom boxes that I had. You know how I collect all these weird radios. And so I had to listen to it the old school way, man, on a little boom box.
Well, fortunately, I have that. I have that album doubly in vinyl myself. So
Yeah, that's my first time having it. And so it was really I don't know. There's just something so nostalgic to me because for you growing up, Randy, it was all about vinyls, man. It was all about that. But for me, it was the cassettes. Like my first cassette that I bought with my own money was Dr. Dre The Chronic, right? And I listened to all my parents' crazy old cassettes before that. But we didn't have a lot of vinyl. We listened to the Devil down in Georgia, at my friend's house on vinyl, and the Grease soundtrack and things like that, because that's what they had. And so
I have the Grease. I have the Grease on album on vinyl as well.
I can only imagine you, man, like doing the hand jive and the grease lightning or whatever the hell they do.
Oh, I was a big Olivia Newton-John fan back in the day.
Well, I gotta say though, I mean, you got it. You definitely see, because you know me. You know that once I got that haul, I was smiles from end to end of my face. I don't think there was any space for anything else but a smile when I got that haul.
Well, I think everybody that meets you, they see that, you're kind of the 90 grunge guy look, but you're a little softy when it comes to the 70s love songs and stuff. I'm always surprised.
Yeah, like, it all started when I fell in love with the Carpenters, man, and when I became obsessed with them, it was over with for me. I mean, it still is. Like, we're getting closer to Christmas. I'll be popping out that Carpenters Christmas album and hugging it tightly underneath the fire.
Our listeners, if you ever just go on YouTube and pull up people listening to the Carpenters for the first time, and they're blown away. And and for me, somebody who lived through it, you're like, yeah, they were amazing. Yet, you know, growing up, you either, love rock, disco sucks, but you know, But the 70s power ballad love songs and Karen Carpenter, probably one of the best drummers of all time. The music is amazing.
Easily the best singing drummer of all time. I mean,
Yep.
I know there's some great ones out there, but who can really rival Karen Carpenter when it comes to that? I don't think there's anybody. I truly don't. If you haven't heard the Carpenters and you're living under a rock, or you refuse because you're too metal, or you're stop this foolishness. All right. I was that guy for many years. You're not too metal. You're not too cool to listen to it. Go listen to those albums, and man, you're gonna thank me. You're probably gonna call me on the old on the phone, dial me up on the pager, and you're gonna 911 me, and you're gonna tell me, hey, this was the best thing that anyone ever suggested to me. So do it, everybody.
So before we get our guests on here, I know we've got some great guests coming on today. I think we need to talk just a little bit of football. We're going to break from the music for just a second, because me and you were texting this last Saturday, because your Iowa Hawkeyes were playing Michigan State, and it was the game before the Huskers played Penn State. So of course I watched the Iowa game for you, not just for you, but I wanted to see just how bad maybe this game might be here when Nebraska plays Iowa for the final home game. Because you know what? I'm going to finally get to go to a game this year, and it's going to be Nebraska, Iowa. And, it's a great border battle of all time. But Iowa's gotten the best of Nebraska these last few years. And as a Nebraska fan, that's frustrating.
It is, but I know a lot of people don't want to look at it as a rivalry, but it really has become a border war, a rivalry of sorts. And I'm not saying please, Husker fans, don't get mad at me. I'm not saying it's as good as the Oklahoma and Nebraska rivalry, or even like Nebraska and Colorado, but it's starting to get up there. I can feel the hate this week. I can feel the heat on my back and the people staring me down at the store as I got my Iowa stuff on, and I could just feel it. This feels great. This feels like a rivalry. And I'm so glad you get to go, Randy, because if this is your only game of the season, I think this one's going to be a fun one. I really don't know how it's going to turn out, everybody. I don't know. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Iowa is just, they look more dominant, but Iowa struggled in the trenches, and it's hard to play at Memorial Stadium. So we're both going to be there, sitting in our respective seats, and maybe I'll throw a runs at Randy from time to time.
Well, we'll just let everybody know we'll be a little scratch the vinyl split division. Cain will be in his Hawkeye gear, and I'll be in my Husker gear, and we'll just cheer for the teams, and may the best team win.
Well, I am volunteering someone to walk with me, kind of like security, like as a human shield, in case somebody wants to beat me up for wearing my Iowa gear. So if you want to do that, please email us at scratchthevinylpodcast@gmail.com. And you're more than welcome to walk in front of me like security and check people's pockets to make sure that they don't have any weapons as they come at me. So
I think you forget we've actually picked up some nice listenership in Iowa now. So maybe you're just growing our brand a little bit. So
we're trying. Well, you mentioned earlier that we have some killer guests on our hands. So now I think is a fantastic time to move to our guests, because we've had one of them on the show before. It's been a long time since he's been up, but there's been a massive journey that he's gone through since he's been here, and also one of his bandmates. So without further ado, everybody, we have Brent Roemmich and Lindsay Lund, everybody. Brent and Lindsay, how the heck are you guys doing?
We're doing great. How about you?
We're doing fantastic. So you guys are formerly of Again for the First Time. You guys are now kind of doing your own things, but you guys have had a lot of things happen in between from the last time that we talked. So for one, Brent, I'm so glad to see you here in front of me.
Yes.
You've had a heck of a health journey, my friend, and I've been following you the whole time, and I'm here for it, man. You actually inspire me, really all of us, to just keep trying, man. Just keep going. So could you, to start, we'll get into the music and everything, but Brent, could you just kind of give the audience an update on kind of briefly what happened to you and how you're doing now?
So last August, I just started a new job at a school here in town as a para. But that's around the time when my legs like started giving out on me. And so I made it about a month. We parted on good terms. And then I went to the hospital that Thursday. Actually, the clinic. I went to the clinic that day. They ran labs. Everything turned out normal. And then they scheduled a MRI of the brain on the next Thursday. And that's when I got sent to the ER at Kearney Regional. And then 3.5 months later, like 4 hospitals, they finally were able to diagnose me with PTS or PML,
PML.
which is a very rare disease. So after 3.5 months in the hospital, we finally went home. I was doing better after the brain biopsy. And ever since then, I've been putting videos on Facebook. And then I moved to TikTok because I had so many people reaching out privately and saying that my story inspires them and motivates them to want to try harder in their therapies, in their therapy journeys. And so, like, I've been posting ever since. First and foremost, for myself, to look back on videos of me 5 months ago when I have bad days, and then to also inspire anybody that wants to listen or follow my story. So,
Well, it's been a tremendous process. I mean, just watching you every day. I mean, I see your stuff pretty much every day. You
yeah,
post pretty frequently. And I think that's awesome, man. I think that people need that message, especially at times like now,
yep,
where we want to give up, right? We get frustrated with things in life. Our health turns to crap. And
yep,
it's just it's a breath of fresh air, man. So I'm so glad that you're here to talk to us.
yep.
And I can't wait to dive into these to this new album of Lindsay's that you're
Yeah.
putting on. But I will say this, you did have some positive stuff happen too, right? In between that time you got married to your partner, correct?
Yep. Actually, a lot of things like the doctors at UNMC in Omaha actually gave me a less than 10% chance of leaving the hospital in a body bag. Um, and so I basically, since then, I pushed as hard as I could. Like it came to the point where I lost control of my limbs, like legs and arms. Um, and I wasn't able to speak, like
Or sing.
or sing. But the second I got moved to Madonna in Lincoln and went through intensive physical, occupational, and speech therapy, like it was the music. Like in speech therapy, they talked a lot about my music, and our band released an album in December. And I will always be grateful to Lindsay and the other band members for getting that music out uh, when everybody thought I was gonna pass away, And so, yeah, music and speech therapy, they focused on the music that I've made, that our band made, and basically music in general. They asked me questions like, if you could pick your favorite music genre, your favorite musical you've ever been to, your favorite concert you've ever been to, like, and so talking about music with the speech therapists is like, I think that's what made me be able to start putting words with thoughts in my head. Because I basically could not find the words. There was a point where Vaughn, my partner, had told me that all I could say was pee, I need to pee, and nurse. Otherwise, I could not find the words in my head to speak it out loud.
And now he's
Yeah.
writing lyrics,
Yeah.
you know, and singing again. And it's wild. So a lot of things that have happened since then. It's truly like a miracle that he's able to do these things.
Yep. Pushing every day.
Literally music therapy, food
Yeah.
for the soul, food for the soul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
Wow, that just gave me like goosebumps. Like
Yeah.
you're just like, because I remember you putting out those first videos and it's like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
I mean, anything like that would just normally knock anybody down to zero.
Yep.
And when you know, you're kind of faced with your own mortality and to find music as a path to
Yep.
recover.
Mhm.
Wow.
Actually, when
I'm
I
blown
went
away.
on TikTok, I actually connected with a lot of like, I used music in my therapy videos, like trying to walk, like with a walker. Like people could see the struggle, but music, like I've actually connected with a few of my favorite artists because I use their songs and tag them in the video on TikTok. And so I never thought that I would have the platform or just inspiration to use songs in my videos.
Mhm.
So I've connected with Toby Lightman. She was a singer songwriter back in like 2004, and she's still making music today independently. Um, Bonnie McKee is another one of my favorites, and the Midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
our album was
80s
inspired by-
synth pop. We are all over the retro stuff. So
You know, we hear those stories from other artists too that that ultimately kind of somehow for whatever reason reach out to their you know their other artists that they look up to
Yeah.
and and they get great response. And what they always say is they find out that, you know what, they're just people too that just are
Yeah.
that enjoy making music and are literally doing the same thing you are. You just, you're kind of a fanboy, you fan out, but
Yeah.
reality is you're really not so different. And so
Yeah.
that's I'm glad that you found some connection that way, because I think
Yeah.
it's important, to find those pathways to keep moving forward with your own stuff.
mhm.
And also, like regular people on TikTok reached out to me privately and told me their stories, the reason that they need therapy now. Um, Anything from car accidents that paralyzed them from the waist down, and now they're in therapy. Other people had PML, and they were so grateful that they knew somebody that was struggling from the same thing, and just countless stories. Like I was actually kind of blown away
Mm.
and very humble, because everybody's got a unique story, unique journey. Like it's amazing, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to provide inspiration and support for them,
Mhm.
or even families that have somebody paralyzed or whatever, PML. Like family members have reached out to me, you know, for their relatives that are struggling with the same PML that I had and still have. It's just, thankfully, it's in remission,
Mhm.
some sort of, so to say. But yeah, so if I can push hard, then they realize that they can get out of bed and go to therapy, and anything is possible.
Now, Lindsay, you went through a lot too in the making of this album. Like it was an inspiration. So why don't you talk about, if you would briefly, like the things that you went through as well,
Mhm.
to kind of lead up to this album, and then we'll get into the album itself.
So this is an album that's been in probably a little over a year in the making. And I had a series of events in my life that kind of came up. One being I needed to do a massive job change because it was taking me down a really bad road of mental health and being overworked in a lot of situations. And it just wasn't healthy for me nor my family anymore. And we had a huge shift that we had to do, like a pivot, you would say. Um, so about this time, October, about a year ago, I started working on going back into my music room at home. I have a studio downstairs, and it's kind of my happy place when everything around me is like crumbling. I can just go in there and start working through stuff. But um, I find that when I'm highly emotional, that's when I write my best. And so some of the heartache and things that I was going through was literally poured out onto the keys. Some of it, I would just hit record on my workstation and just see what happened. And that's kind of how I write. But I will tell you, Phoenix specifically, which is on the album, Phoenix was written last October. And it was when I think I made a very concerted decision in my life to say, I'm done dealing with toxic things. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to move forward. And like a phoenix, you will find that you can rise from it. The whole album being called Beauty from Ashes, very symbolic of you go through a ton of chaos in your life, you go through hard, difficult times, but at the end, there is a lot of good that can come from it. There is a lot of things that happen for a specific reason, even if we hate it. And that's kind of what my journey over the past year has been, is discovering that I had to let go of some things. I had to let go of a lot in order to find peace and beauty on the other side of it. So I'm now in a different job. I'm teaching in Bertrand public school, preschool, all the way through 12th graders. I absolutely love it. Amazing small community. The people are fantastic. And one of the other songs on the album, Falling for Your Grace, was written while literally sitting in the music room. And I was sitting there contemplating about how blessed I feel to be in that community and working with those kids, and just how at peace I am. From a year before of being stressed, high levels of workload, um, situations, to finding this absolute calm. And every song on this album tells a story about something in my life, or something that I've gone through, or it's just fun, like Space Bears. I mean, I couldn't call it Star Wars Ewoks, because honestly, it's the only thing that came to my mind was a bunch of Ewoks dancing around. And my husband's like, just call it Space Bears. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call it Space Bears then. So I'm like, you got to have some fun too. Um, but all the way through the album, beginning to finish, I've got a couple songs on there that feature my daughter. Um, she's a gorgeous voice. She just participated in the all-state choir this year in Nebraska. Super proud of her. So she's on that, because she had some difficult things that she went through. So music was also very therapeutic for her in those aspects. Um, but every song that I put out there, it's raw, it's real, it's authentic. Um, as a musician, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. And there is a huge sense of vulnerability there. Um, the very end of my album, there's a song called After the Storm. And it very much is, you get to finally take that fresh breath and sigh of relief when you've gone through what you've gone through, and you finally find your calm. The album will take you on a journey, and I am convinced that there is a song on there that will relate to just about anybody. And if it's not quite their cup of tea, that's okay. My music influences go way back. I was a kid that grew up listening to every single album of Enya. So you're going to hear some Enya etherealness through there. You're going to hear classically trained stuff. You're going to hear some Van Halen synthesizer stuff. You're going to hear so many elements. And then I go towards the cultural side. Tomo Gozen is a Japanese samurai piece. There's so many different elements in this album. I'm very proud to put this album out. But what kind of made it over the top for me was bringing Brent in on this. and saying to Brent, look, I'm not the greatest with writing lyrics, but I know you and I are going through the same things. We're both struggling with forms of PTS. Let's compile together. I can write music like crazy, but when it comes to writing lyrics, I needed a strong lyric writer. Plus, he has an amazing voice. I mean, that's also a very good benefit. But this album, there are several songs on there where him and I, we collabed, and we didn't go anyplace special to do these songs. Literally, where we're sitting right now, he's in his recliner and I'm next to him. Literally, we were writing music right here. I would record it at home. I'd bring it here. We'd play it. He'd sing along. I'd sing along. We didn't go any place for this aside from studio when we actually recorded stuff. But all the making was here in the living room or downstairs in my music room.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an album that I'm very proud of, and it's my second full length album. I kind of chuckled when I put everything into disc makers because they're like, it's too long. You need 2 CDs. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a 2 CD. Cool. 23 songs. Here we go. So I encourage anybody to just give it a listen. There will be something on it that they will relate to.
Definitely comes out when listening to it. I mean, the fun of being on this show is I dive into the artists. When they tell me that they have music out, I don't just go in and listen to, a portion of the song or, this or that. I listen to the full spectrum, everything that they did. And I mean, you're absolutely right. You can pick something great out of everything. There's so many different styles in this. It's really awesome. I know that this is your second album. So your first album was in 2024, correct? In the Element?
Yeah. That's
So
right.
so you've kind of evolved. I mean, you keep evolving as a musician, which
I do.
any artist should, right? But
Mhm.
what I love about it is when I read through your bio, it kind of reminded me of when I wrote my first 2 albums. You're really, for lack of a better term, you're really kind of just dropping all of your thoughts and all of your life into these and really pouring your heart out. I say not your album, but mine. I puked out every single piece of me into those. And I know that sounds gross, but it's like it was hard for me to write. And I can probably see this for you. When you kind of revisit all of it, it's therapeutic, but it's hard to write your life into these songs. So I tell people when they say, Randy and I talk about this all the time, that lyrics aren't important or, this or that isn't important. I think it's all important because it all tells a story. So my question for you on these albums is, how did you choose like the song placement and everything? This is an interesting thing to me because
Mhm.
I really methodically tried to do it on mine, but how did you do it for yours? How did you methodically put each song in the line that they're in?
Out in the wild, there's one creature feared by hunters, admired by lumberjacks, and envied by hipsters.
Yeah, it's me, the elegant Sasquatch, and let me tell you, these locks don't tame themselves.
Introducing the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company. Beard oils, butters, and washes so good, they'll make your face smell like you wrestled a cedar tree while sipping fine whiskey.
Last week, a hiker followed me for 3 miles just to ask what cologne I was wearing. Joke's on him, I don't wear cologne. I wear the gentleman.
Upgrade your beard game. Sophisticate your outer beast. Find the Elegant Sasquatch Grooming Company at elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com.
And stop stealing my jerky!
I started it with Beauty from Ashes because I wanted it to be kind of like an introduction to the rest of the album. Like you're going to be in a little bit of chaos and then you're going to hear this ethereal voicing come through, which is my daughter and myself. I wanted that to set up the mentality for the listener of what you're about ready to listen to. That it's going to take you someplace within a matter of 1 to 2 minutes. So the second song, I'm like, this needs to be Phoenix. It just, boom, you're going to rise up. You're going to have a new day. You're not going to let the past, keep you from your future. I wanted it to take them on a journey. And so what I think about is, how is the song starting? How is the song ending? what do I want my listener to feel and reflect on as they go from track to track? I always throw in instrumental tracks, even if there's lyrics and voicings. I always throw instrumentals in because sometimes people don't want to hear singing. They just want a straight up instrumental experience. I knew from the very, very get go of doing this album that After the Storm needed to be at the end. And if you listen to the very last like 30 seconds, it will literally drift you off. And it should bring you a sense of calmness and resolution. And that's the thing about my music. It's not going to just be, oh, I'm here and now I'm there. It's a journey. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Um, it's meant to be experienced and it's meant to be reflective. And however I can place those songs so that those messages can come through a little bit better. Like I wouldn't put Space Bears right after, Falling for Your Grace. That wouldn't tie very well at all. So I tried to put the more fast, upbeat things kind of closer together, so that it would flow and your mood wouldn't go up, down, up, down, up, down, but it would just kind of cruise you through it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I just it's fun to get the artist's description of how they placed everything.
mhm.
I kind of felt that way as you're describing it and thinking back to when I listened to it. It does make sense. I know that you said that you're inspired by like there's a big retro wave synth pop synth wave movement
Mhm.
that's kind of behind the scenes, right? You mentioned the
Yeah.
midnight. I listen to all these bands, so I love this. I listen to them. I listen to Gunship. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
There's even the darker ones like Haunt Me and
Mhm.
all these, and I can't get enough of it. It inspired me so much that I even wrote an album and started a band called Neon Mannequin, where it was all of that same stuff. And
Yeah.
hopefully maybe I can, team up with you guys someday.
Be
Maybe
awesome.
maybe you guys can be part of Neon Mannequin.
Yeah.
It'd be sweet.
Tell me more about is it a nostalgia thing for you? Because when I
Oh, yeah.
synth and stuff, it just I
I
get the goosebumps.
I grew up okay, I was an '80s kid. I mean,
Too.
one of my favorite memories growing up was the movies, the music, trick or treating with my cousins at night, like total nostalgia. Riding bikes when it's dark outside, coming home when the lights turn on. So for me, it is definitely nostalgic. It brings me back to a place. I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. I love all the music. Like I applaud the music writers of Stranger Things left and right, up and down, because they nailed it and they nailed it to the wall. And it's like, wow. It's like takes me back to like Goonies, and Lost Boys and all of these great retro films. So if you listen to Night Drive or Night Drive 83, yeah, totally Stranger Things vibes going through there. And I think it's very artistic. I think it's very shifting of the mood. That's why I don't always put lyrics with stuff, but um yeah, I love to have songs that can reflect, a little bit of your roots, how you were raised, where you came from, the things that you loved, growing up. But yeah, being an '80s baby, I can't help but throw a ton of synthesizers at stuff and just have fun with creating sounds. So
Of course, the last season of Stranger Things starts this week.
today,
Today, technically today, when this
I'm
episode
all over
airs,
that.
that first episode will be out. I've already looked, and every episode is like an hour and a half, 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's going to be like it's literally like watching a new movie every week for the next. Well, you get so many weeks, and then the second part is going to come out like right after Christmas or
Mhm.
something. We're in for a fun ride for the next 2 months on that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because like my kids and I were I got teenagers at home and they love watching it too. And they'll say to me things like, "Hey mom, you should try writing some stuff like Stranger Things." I'll be like, "Okay." Or, "Hey mom, you should write stuff for Rocket League, Fortnite games." Okay. And we kind of have fun with that. My kids both have an ear for music too, and I mean naturally they can't help it because they've been raised in it. But it's crazy because you think about how you're raised, the songs you listen to growing up, and for me, okay, my dad was a country western guy, but he also loved 50s and he loved jazz. He was a Glenn Miller, had Glenn Miller's greatest hits. My mom, all about the 80s rock bands. Def Leppard, Van Halen, Led Zepp, you name it, okay? And then, of course, I'm born in '83, and so then I lived through all those, the '90s, the alternative rock, the grunge, the 2000s. Throw in a couple music degrees, and you're pretty well-rounded where you can just about write in any style. But I love to pull different styles together. To me, it's like we have more music available to us today in the world than ever before, ever. And the possibilities are endless. Like how many different ideas you could come up with. I always tell my students, can you imagine what it'd be like if Mozart and Van Halen actually knew each other? Like what crazy stuff could they have written and come up with? Like if Mozart had an electric guitar, what would he have done? I don't know. Possibilities are endless, but I've always loved music. It's always been a part of me. It started out when I was like 7 or 8. I don't know. My grandmother gave me a small keyboard, um, maybe 3 feet long, and the rest is kind of history from there. But it's always been a part of me, and I don't know where it comes from, but it's this weird space in my head that it just always. I think one of our past friends, they used to say that I'm like a faucet. If they needed new music, they just like turn it on, and out would pour out some idea. Um, because I sometimes I can't stop having ideas come out of my head. And I'm like, oh, we could do this. We could do this. Let's try this. And I think it's just there's so many different areas of genres plugged into my roots that it's a lot of possibilities. So
One of my favorite new things is, with AI and a lot of the new music uh, apps online now, that they take all these classic songs and put them in different genres.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, oh my God, that is so good. So if you're a you're like jazz or soul, and you take this hit rock song, you put it in a different genre, and how it works, you're like, I could spend all day just doing that. Especially if, like you said, you have a lot of different influences. I'm like the generation before you. So I grew up listening to 50s and 60s.
Mhm,
I lived in the 70s and 80s. I went to high school in the 80s. So I
mhm.
had so many musical influences. Like, oh my God, there was so much to choose from. And like you said, then you go into the 90s and 2000s, where you have you know, you have what rap became, and then the grunge and I I feel fortunate. It's like I feel like I literally lived through some of the best time of
Yeah.
music.
Oh, yeah.
And
Easy.
when you get to go back and listen to like different things, you're like, I don't have a favorite. I
Mhm.
love it all. And you kind of touched on that. And I'm glad that you found those inspirations to put in your music, because that's, basically that's you. That's your melting pot of music. And it obviously shows. I haven't Unfortunately, I haven't got to listen to the whole album. I only got to listen to like 5 songs.
Yeah.
But I loved what I heard, and you could tell that after listening to your story. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing all that with us.
Thank you. Yeah, so a fun fact, my great-grandfather was a country music artist. He's actually in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Um, and so we all say that the music comes from that side of the family. Usually it skips like a generation because my dad, he can't play anything. But uh, my dad had asked me, he said, "Can you write me a country song?" I'm like, that's a little out of my territory, but I can certainly try. So the song A Country Soul, which is on the album, is my attempt at writing a country song. And I think it turned out pretty good. There are some things that I would go back and tweak in it, but um the lyrics the lyrics are all about growing up small town Nebraska, going to where, grandma's house was and used to play outside in the parks, be out all day. And the main chorus, the line of that is take me back to the roots I should know. We all grow up and we kind of move away, and then we kind of forget about the things that made us who we are when we were younger. So that song is really about just take me back. Take me back, teach me about who I am. teach me about what our family is and our values and our beliefs, and teach me more about my grandparents before I don't see them again, things like that. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to Country Soul, maybe check that one out. But that's my attempt at writing country style. So
That's so funny because I always go into writing certain songs that I think I'm writing in my mind. I'm writing these old 80s punk songs, and they turn out to be like these total storytelling songs.
Yeah.
And Cain says to me, he says, that just sounds like a country song to me.
Singer-songwriter. Yep.
And I'm like, oh man, I'm not country. He says, you kind of are. Even though he knows I don't. Country influence isn't my big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been fun writing with Randy, right? I mean, like, because Randy's not a musically trained guy, but I would say he's as trained as anybody. I'd say he's listened to as much music or more music than most people do. And I think that is a formal training. I mean, I trained myself to play guitar and sing to listening to Merle Haggard albums and different.
Yeah.
And here I play metal and grunge and all sorts of stuff. It doesn't sound like Merle Haggard at all.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
But you have a country voice. You have a country voice.
Well, yeah, I played in country, cover bands and stuff, like playing country rhythm and everything. I'm not doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just singing and playing some easy rhythm. 3 chords and the truth, right? As Nathan.
Yep.
Right.
So, but
Brent, do you have a country background?
Yeah. My parents, my mom and dad, until I was 5, all that they listened to was country music, and so I grew up on Susie Boggess and
Oh yeah.
Martina McBride and like Faith Hill, Shania Twain, Jody Messina. And then when I was like 5 years old, my aunt from Texas, we went down to see her, and she showed me, or she had the new Mariah Carey album, Daydream.
I had that too.
And
Yeah.
yep. So she actually gave me that album because I liked it so much. And then pop,
Enter the pop culture.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't realize that any of these artists existed. And so from there, I went on a pop crusade. And then in college, I listened to alternative rock bands. And so, yeah.
And I want to point out he brought up Mariah Carey, and it's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
You're not, it's like Candyman. You're not supposed to say her name or she'll appear, right? Like it's almost Christmas.
Yep.
She thawed out. She's thawing out.
And that same aunt actually, she was living with my grandma and grandpa at the time in Nebraska. So when Amy Grant released her Heart and Motion album that exploded her in the pop market, since then, Amy Grant has been one of my favorite artists of all time. So I was like, yeah.
That's awesome.
So my aunt exposed me to pop music, and I just went from there. So
I'm not gonna lie, I have a little soft spot for Amy Grant too.
yeah.
It might be a hidden pleasure, but when people do it in karaoke, I'm like, secretly, yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
I know when I hear Selena, when I hear Selena, I get a tear in my eye, right? Like you wouldn't think I'd be sitting around listening to Selena tunes, but here, hold on. Before we move to the next thing, Randy, let's play a fun little game here. What's one artist or one album or anything that if people knew you guys, they wouldn't know that you were into it, right? Like I'll start, like one of my favorite artists of all time and will always be to this day is Bobby Brown. Okay, so Bobby Brown can do no wrong in my eyes. It was the first tape I stole from my sister and listened to on repeat over and over again. I learned to sing to Bobby Brown. So there's mine. So let's just go around. So Lindsay, what's an album or an artist that if people know you, when you say this, their minds would be blown?
Okay, so it brings me back to the first album that I bought. I was a 7th grader, and my parents had a huge fit because it was the first album that had a parental advisory sticker on it. And that was Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. And I remember getting that. And I mean, I just listened to that thing over and over and over again. And I kept telling my parents, I'm not going to say the swear words, but it was right at that time when parental advisory stuff started coming out on video games and CDs and whatnot. So I actually owned quite a bit of rap CDs, which even my students get a little like, what, Mrs. Lund, really? So I'm like, I can relate to you guys. I get it. They're cool beats. Like it's cool. I like it. But yeah, I'd say maybe my Coolio album. But on the flip side, dude, I got to go back to Enya. I mean, her Watermark album, still to this day, my favorite. Watermark all the way. Like I love the language she sings in, the Celtic languages. I mean, I've got Irish roots myself, so I'm all about that too. But yeah, probably shocks most people that I would ever own a rap album. But
What about you, Brent? I mean, are you sitting on Slipknot as your guilty pleasure? We want to know, man. The world wants to know what's your guilty pleasure that no one would expect you to be listening to.
I would say I actually, for my music business degree, I actually interned out in Burbank in California. And so it was a marketing internship. So I would have to say like the Raconteurs. I actually really, really love that band that I worked for. TJ was my boss, and then his boss was Rob Gordon. And then so although everywhere from the Raconteurs, because I listened to their music as we had free CDs before the albums came out. We actually worked for Disturbed.
I like Disturbed also. So.
Yeah, so it was basically a rock music internship, but I also got to see Francesca Battistelli,
Oh yeah.
Christian artist,
Yeah.
and when she released her first album in 2008. She came down, they flew her out because she was from Nashville, Christian artist, but we all met in this boardroom and she played guitar and just sang like some of the songs from her first album. So anything from Disturbed to Francesca Battistelli.
Yeah.
So
We're very similar in that way.
yeah.
Just all around the board.
Well, of course, I have a lot of like great favorite albums, but I think people would probably be predictable, right? So probably the one at the time that would probably not have been predictable for me would have been The Cure.
I love The Cure.
Yep.
So at that time, I was still going through, still had a lot of, classic rock, hair band, AC/DC, Def Leppard, all that kind of stuff, but snuck in there. I absolutely loved that whole Cure album. Like it was my first love of real taste of kind of that synth pop, punk,
Yep.
whatever they wanted to call it at the time. It was unique. I loved it. Cain probably knows that a little bit about me, but only because he knows, but probably other people wouldn't necessarily know that.
Well, they just put out a new album this last summer. Like
Yep,
6
last
months
summer.
ago, I think. Yeah.
You know what we're gonna go as for Halloween next year at the Madness of Madsons? We'll both be Robert Smith. We'll
Oh God. Well, I'm old enough now for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, time always gets biased. We love hearing your stories. I mean, totally inspirational. I mean, this is what our fans love. Honestly, they love knowing that there's other people out there going through hard things, and finding music as a way to, feed their soul. I mean, we all, me and Cain talk about this all the time, that music takes us to a certain place in time. but it also is, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
We just did a great interview a few weeks back where, we had a service guy going through PTSD. I mean, found his way from the depths, to really climb out of a deep hole, and it has turned that into now helping other people. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing too, and we love that. Is there anything on the horizon as far as you guys performing, or just even give us just give our listeners a way to find your music online and to keep following what you're doing?
So the album is on all major platforms, so you can check it out: Spotify, YouTube. I also have CDs, actual CDs. If people want to go old school and buy a CD, I do have those. um, if they want to reach out to us, they can reach us. Well, I'd say a couple different ways.
Yeah.
We have a duo that we're forming up called Night Signal, and that is probably going to be our next release as a duo. We have already like 4 songs that we've got worked up. So those should be releasing within, I don't know, 6 months.
Yeah.
But we write quickly and efficiently, and then we go into studio with Morgan down at Secret Studios here in Kearney. He's fantastic. I got to give huge props to Morgan. And fun fact about Morgan, he is a past student of mine. So some connections there, but any major platform you can find the album. Just type in Beauty from Ashes, type in Lindsay Lund or Brent Roemmich. You can also type in Spark Stars, and that's one way you can find it. If people want to reach out to us, you can go and you can email us. You can email nightsignalmusic@gmail, or you can email sparkstarsmusic@gmail. But before I let you guys go, I do want to throw out there, because you were mentioning the gentleman with PTSD. That's something that Brent and I very much are dealing with and are managing. I would encourage any listener dealing with that to check out Falling for Your Grace on the album. My big inspiration for that piece is Joshua 1:9. Whether you're Christian faith or not, it's an empowering piece. And the big lyrics in that are, be strong and be courageous. You can do it. You can do it. Just be strong. You're stronger than you think. And the other one, if anybody's familiar with Johnson Lake, Nebraska, check out Oceanside.
Yeah.
My daughter was going through her difficult things. The only way I could get her to go to sleep at night was put her in the car, drive on I-80. Sometimes we'd end up out at Johnson Lake, which is my home roots as well. And so Oceanside, you can hear a lot of that. Just breathe, just breathe. And so for anybody who's driving late at night, needs some encouragement, put the album on, and there will be something that they can connect to. But we don't do necessarily live performances. I know for Brent, it's kind of hard. And for me, I'm a mom, I'm a working mom, I'm a music director. We kind of just put our music out there, and hopefully somebody can enjoy it. But yeah, we're kind of behind the scenes, I guess. So, but we encourage all the listeners out there, and like we were talking earlier, make music to make music. It is my passion. It's Brent's passion. We're going to keep putting stuff out there. And if you enjoy it, awesome. We appreciate that. But yeah, we should have another album soon.
Hopefully soon,
Soon. We'll
yeah.
be putting a lot of stuff out. So
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to Cain close this out, but I just wanted to, before he does, I just thank you guys for sharing your stories.
Yeah.
And I think it connects to a lot of people, and you got fans with us, and anything we can do to help, please don't be afraid to reach out to us.
thank you guys.
And we'll help promote. And if there's ever an opportunity, we'd love to see you live, and we'll see what
Thank
the
you.
future brings. Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, there you have it, Scratchaholics, Scratch a Vinyl fans out there. We, especially our listeners in Kearney, we want to give a good shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for helping us build the show. The show just keeps being the little engine that, it could, but it keeps going. So we appreciate all of you guys and continue listening. This was another fine example of how we highlight local talent and show you guys all over the world just how great Nebraska is. So catch us on the flip side and do it every week here on
Scratch the Vinyl.
Oh man, what an amazing show that was. What an amazing interview. It was great talking to Brent and Lindsay. That was a blast. I don't have a pilgrim hat, so we're going to have to go with the sombrero today and talk about all the things that we're thankful for. So let's talk about it. We're thankful for our sponsors, the ones that keep us going, the ones that keep the lights flickering and flashing behind me. I appreciate it so much, and there's just so much to be thankful for. First off, we want to thank you guys, the listeners out there, the ones that are really pushing this thing and really getting us going here. You guys keep us just trucking all night long. You guys keep us partying, and you keep us podcasting, and it's been a heck of a ride so far. So thank you guys so much. Let's talk about those sponsors. First off, we have Roots Music Shop, everybody. It's getting close to the holidays, and I can't think of a better gift than the gift of an instrument. Go there, get a guitar, your instant cool factor will go up. I mean, if a nerdy guy like me in a sombrero around Thanksgiving can be cool, at least perceivable cool, then you can too. So check out the instruments I got here. I've got plenty more. I wish I could pan around the room, but I just can't right now. So you'd have to know, if you know type deal. So go to Roots Music Shop. They also have records there. So it's the finest place on earth. It's one of my favorite places. So go there, everybody, and tell Ryan we said hi. Next, we have Backtrack Records. This is a very music heavy podcast, and we talk about vinyl a lot. We talk about tapes. We talk about all that. You can go to Backtrack Records and you can find all that there. Be a $1, $2, $4 billionaire, as I like to call it, and get yourself, just dig through those bins, everybody. Dig through those bins like I do and find yourself some deals. I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed if you go there. We have American Senior Benefits. Ask for Jason DeGosh, the man with a plan. Jason, oh my gosh, DeGosh. Ask them for him, and I promise you, the man with a plan will find you something. He'll dig something out of his mind. He will do his witchy magic, and he will make something work for you. So, American Senior Benefits and Jason DeGosh. And we want to thank Kelly's Pub, our official, unofficial sponsor. They've always been great to us. Mr. Chill does karaoke there. Brooke bartends and does all sorts of things. I have no idea what the heck Brooke does, but she does something there. So go to Kelly's Pub. They've always been great to us. We've had benefits there. And then last but not least, we have Madsen's Bowling and Billiards. It is the place that you go just to get those great vibes that you wish you had all the time. If you could bottle them up, well, you don't even have to. If you could bottle them up, you would have that feeling that you get at Madsen's. You got the great food, you've got the great drink specials, you've got pool, you've got bowling, you've got poker, you've got karaoke, live music, you've got everything. So go to Madsen's Bowling and Billiards and just remember, everybody, like, we've all been going there for years, and now it's just like an upgraded version. It's like the final boss when it comes to places. So go there. Sarah and Brady are the best. We love them so much. And last but not least, once again, we just want to thank you guys for listening to us and to continue to help us grow this fun, ridiculous sometimes show. We love you all. So thank you guys. Have a great holiday, and we will talk to you guys every week, and we do it here on Scratch the Vinyl.